Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy's show. Step off.
Come on, won't you say it loud? Ayo, we gon' turn this out. Tom Clark's Main Event. Drop kick now and
Hey, what is up? Welcome back to the program. Tom Clark back here with you yet again for Tom Clark's Main Event. This is episode number 416, and we've got a big one laid out here for you today, kids. I'm going to try a little bit of a different format here for you, and hope you guys enjoy it. There'll be time for feedback and comments later on, so depending on whether you enjoy this or you prefer the old format, just let me know. You know how to reach me. We'll get into all that here in just a bit. We'll say our hellos in a few minutes as well. But I want to kick this show off with some of the top headlines of the week. So let's go ahead and get to it. One of the biggest news stories this week in the world of pro wrestling, of course, as we know, unless you've been living under a rock, Kofi, Kingston, and Xavier Woods are gone from WWE. It's a new day. Yes, it is. Let me start this by saying I've always been a big fan of these guys. The trio with Big E as well. Great. I can't say it was a great gimmick because, Buddy, in the beginning, the gimmick was pretty crap. I think we all would agree on that. But these three guys took it and turned it into something. They just turned it into gold. And they deserve all the credit in the world for that. They had a phenomenal WWE run, Kingston and Woods together. They turned heel and everything. And that bit's fine, I guess. You know, they were due for a change, overdue for a change. But personally, I just love the idea of the baby face. New Day, I think, as a lot of us did. But the story goes, kids, that they were approached by TKO, of course, being the parent company of WWE, about restructuring their deals. And according to the Wrestling Observer, Kingston and Woods had little incentive to agree to revised terms because both performers had already signed 5-year contracts with the company last year in 2025. And the report also states that there were not many major creative plans in place for either guy moving forward. And instead of remaining in feature roles, they were allegedly presented with reduced financial terms while transitioning into the later stages of their WWE careers. Their responsibilities would have included both in-ring appearances and promotional work representing the company. And although the revised offer would have kept the original contract length intact, leaving nearly 5 years remaining on their deals, the contracts could still potentially be terminated before expiration. That uncertainty, combined with the lower pay structure, reportedly played a major role in the New Day deciding not to accept the proposal. Look, here's what I'm going to tell you. If any of that sounded familiar, it should, because this reeks of WWE. This is what they do. And you know how many people I saw in this past week blaming TKO? Like, TKO is not full of a bunch of saints, kids. This isn't a church over there, all right? No matter what they profess to believe in or whatever in WWE or, who they're supporting and all that other hoo-ha nonsense. It's not a church. Not a bunch of priests and nuns running around that company, dude. TKO is full of self-serving, millionaires at the mid-tier, I'm sure, and billionaires at the top. That's how this works. It's a corporation. Okay, everybody on top is going to get their bonus this year, right? Hunter's going to get his bonus, right? Nick Khan's going to get his bonus. Think they're going to take a pay cut? Seriously? You think so? But we're going to blame TKO. TKO is at fault here for sure. But you're going to sit there and tell me that Hunter and the guys on the WWE side they couldn't have said anything? They have no input? Are you kidding? Okay, sure, whatever. I mean, we're talking about people's lives here, kids. And, New Day's making the kind of money that more than likely you and I can maybe only dream of, all right? And especially for two guys who are not exactly 50, 60 years old here. It's not like their careers are over. But as we just talked about, as I just read to you, this is what WWE does. And again, if it sounds familiar, it should. Let's say the pay cut is just unheard of and it's just, well, Tom, that's something new, right? Them going to not just these guys, but other talent as well, and wanting performers to take a pay cut. Well, Tom, that's TKO. Fine, you want to just lay that at TKO's feet, then let's do that. But let's talk about the rest of it. Transitioning to the later stages of their WWE careers. That's what WWE does. Because, buddy, when the company decides you're done, you are done. Go ask Ric Flair what he thinks about that. Have we all forgotten Ric Flair didn't want to retire? Rick didn't want to retire. Okay. He wasn't ready. They coaxed him into it, I would think. And I don't think that he did anything against his will, but it's been pretty well documented in the years since then that he wasn't ready to retire. And that was his pushback. But the company said, nope, it's time. We're going to do this program with Sean, and we're going to give you a massive Hall of Fame induction, a massive WWE, WrestleMania moment that they're going to replay for years to come. And one day someone will use it in a boxing match. I'm sorry, I love you, right? Super kicker around the world. I mean, they did it to Randy Savage. They did it to Roddy Piper. They've done it to a lot of guys over the years. Well, we think you're done, so go be a commentator now. We want you to be a producer backstage. We're going to wind this contract down, and we're going to take you off TV. I just don't. I'm having a hard time understanding why we're surprised by any of this. Honestly, we're surprised by WWE's pay cuts. It happens. Look, not just pay cuts, but talent cuts. You see how many folks were released the past 2 weeks. Come on, guys. We're surprised why? It happens every year. All of the Wyatt Six released. I mean, the list it's huge. All of them gone. This happens every year. Jeff Cobb gone. Tonga gone, right? Come on. Why are we surprised by this? The fact that companies asking performers to take pay cuts, that's surprising to you. As I said, the top brass are getting their bonuses. Now, as long as Woods and Kingston have the 90-day no-compete, then technically speaking, you're probably not going to see them in any other company until about July. But here's the kicker. We're going to get into Chris Jericho a little bit later, but there's a little something brewing right there that I think it's possible. It's possible that Kingston and Woods do not have a no-compete clause. I'm not reporting that, so everybody take a breath. That's not news broken on the main event here, kids. That's just me speculating, and my speculation could be way, way off base, dude. So, we'll see how it all plays out. But again, Kingston and Woods, they're not done, not by a long shot. It didn't take Kenny Omega long to put out that video of all of them playing video games a few years back. Come on, guys. Well, I think we know what's going to happen here. You know what? Good for them if it happens. And if they decide to stay home, good for them too. Whatever it is that will make them happy, that they want to do with their careers or with their personal lives moving forward, it's entirely their call. I'd love to see them in AEW ring. I'd love to see them in New Japan. But again, it's up to them. We'll just have to wait and see how it goes. I think they could repackage themselves. They'll make it work. Everyone knows who they are. I mean, Woods made it pretty clear that he's going to be Austin Creed in that tweet. Kofi thanked everybody and kind of made it clear that he wasn't done yet either. So everyone stay tuned for that. And of course, whatever happens, we'll cover here on the main event. Another top news story that happened this week, kids, sadly, and I didn't want to lead off with this, but it's big news, especially for those of us who are of a certain age. And we grew up watching WCW, and it was part of our formative years, I would say. For me, it was especially Ted Turner. We lost him this week, actually on May 6th, 2026. If for anyone that knows anything about him, you kind of know the bare bones of it. He's a media mogul, TV producer, philanthropist. He launched CNN, created WTBS, a superstation, a studio show, right? Every Saturday, 6:05 on the superstation. TNT, Cartoon Network, Turner Classic Movies. He expanded into sports ownership with the Atlanta Braves, created the Goodwill Games. He also played a major role in televised professional wrestling, as we know, and that's where we meet him here, unless you're a major pro sports fan at the time, of course. But he put pro wrestling on TBS. Been there since the early 1970s, and Ted was always a big fan. He believed it was instrumental in helping the network grow nationally through cable distribution. He was right. He was absolutely right. Ted was a big fan, and that played out. That played itself out on the world stage later on with the Monday Night Wars. At that point, Ted, how involved is he in the product? Who knows? Apparently not very hands-on. Ted never really wanted to be a TV character. I mean, the other company poked fun at him and ripped on him for his, him being Southern and everything. And, you hear the way I speak, where I live in the world. So I'm in North Carolina, baby. A lot of us talk like this. A lot of us sound like this. A lot of us sound a lot worse than this, okay? I feel like my accent's pretty tame compared to a lot of people I actually know. And, that's just the way it is. That's the way it is in the South, man. It's like that in a lot of parts of the country, too, as well. Not just here. But that, again, he just didn't want to be a TV character. He wasn't interested in that. He was a businessman. He was a business executive. And let's just be honest, without Ted, as they said on Dynamite this past Wednesday, Tony Schiavone and Sting, Schiavone paid a great tribute to him. Sting came out and said some very, very kind words, sort of eulogizing him there on live TV. And they both put him over and said, without him, none of you would be here. We wouldn't be here. There would be no AEW, be no Tony Khan. I'm inclined to agree with that. I mean, honestly, I think we're talking about a guy that was not only a trendsetter, but he made it popular. He made it, cool to a certain degree. In a time when pro wrestling was not cool. Listen, I'm of a certain age. Let me just tell you all you kids in all due fairness here, everybody pay attention to what I'm getting ready to say, all right? When I was growing up, pro wrestling was not cool. It was cool to me. Dusty, Nikita, Magnum, the Horseman, Wahoo, the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express. Ivan Koloff, Manny Fernandez, Rick Rude, classic Jim Crockett Promotions we're talking about. None of that stuff was cool, man. And this idea that the other company made it cool with, the rock and wrestling and, the Saturday morning cartoon and stuff, it still wasn't cool. All right? You say anything to the outside world about any of the stuff we were watching back then, they would have poked holes in it and called it fake and all the other fun stuff that they've been doing for years and years and years. Not unlike what they're doing today. But see, here's the difference between now and then, is that now it's more mainstream accepted than it ever has been, probably in the history of the business. We got ESPN showing clips of pro wrestling. We've got major sports publications talking about pro wrestling. This stuff would have never happened back in the day, unless they were talking about a live show, like live attendance or something, or like local news reporting that the big pro wrestling company was coming to town or whatever. And we live in a new day. New day, yes it is. We live in a new age of coverage, of course, as you guys know that. But, again, this is not what I grew up with in the 80s, man, at all. In the 80s, it was cool to me, but, buddy, I knew there were certain people I couldn't bring it up in front of. Just like I was a comic book fan, I couldn't bring that up either. It was a different time, man. I'm telling you, all that stuff's mainstream now, and I'm glad it is. But, buddy, growing up, it was tough. But, I just want to take a moment to send a big send up, a big shout out to the memory of Ted Turner, and as well as condolences to his family and his friends and his fans, because, Ted was a pioneer in a lot of ways. And, in this day and age, we talk a lot about, how billionaires are getting richer and the rest of us getting poorer. And, they're completely dominating the country and ruining it to a large degree. And I firmly believe that. I'm not going to say Ted was a saint, because none of us are. And I'm sure there are plenty of skeletons in Ted Turner's closet, stuff that came out publicly and stuff that did not. And maybe we'll never know the extent to which that this guy possibly had shady deals and, this, that, and the other. But I'm not here for any of that. And, what I'm here today is part of the reason for this episode is to just send a big shout out to him and condolences and just give the guy props. Because, again, without him, as the guy said Wednesday on Dynamite, I don't think we have AEW. We certainly wouldn't have had WCW beating WWE in the Monday Night Wars. None of that happens without Ted. Ted had deep pockets, as Sting said, and that's pretty clear. So, sad news. And again, all the best to his family. And, of course, we hated to see that. I want to move on to a segment now that I like to call Hot or Not. You like that, huh? I like that. So basically this segment, what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about, you'll figure it out. Hot or not. Come on, you guys are smart. You're my audience. I got smart people watching and listening to my show. I promise you that. All right, let's kick this off. Hot. The United Empire. Callum Newman had a banger against Shingo Takagi at Pro Wrestling Dontaku to retain the IWGP Championship. On the same card, Will Ospreay, the Great O'Khan, and Hinare became the new IWGP Never Openweight Six-Man Tag Team Champions. And Andrade El Idolo won the IWGP Global Championship. Look, here's what I'll tell you about this, kids. The Bullet Club is done in New Japan. It's over, at least for right now. and United Empire is riding high. They couldn't get any hotter. I just don't know how they could. I mean, they've got a great faction. There's a great mix. I was going to say there's a great mix of young and veterans. There's not. They're just all young guys. That's what you want, right? We're just talking about, age in professional wrestling and how, not just WWE, but other companies out there want and need to get younger talent out front because that's where the future is. You know what I mean? That's where the future lies. Kingston and Woods were both 20 years old at one time. That's your future, kids. You know what I mean? You can throw your main event guys on the marquee stage and put their names up on the Tron and put their faces on the buses. But, buddy, once you pass 35, 40, and you're getting close to 50 years old, is it over? Of course it's not over. Go look at Sting. Go look at Jericho. I'm not saying it's over, but I'm saying, you've got way more behind you than you've got in front of you at that point, at least in the business. So, what are we talking about? Again, a mix of young and old, great for a company. But for United Empire, baby, it's full steam ahead, 1,000 miles an hour with the young guys. Callum Newman is proving himself every time he defends that belt. Again, great match against Shingo. Buddy, I would think you would have to be wrestling with a paper bag over your head and your ears duct taped shut where you couldn't take direction and couldn't take the lead when Shingo wanted you to, because Shingo's fantastic. And I think he's one of those guys that, like, when you're on your way to the championship or when you get the championship, you're going to have to work Shingo, which I'm sure is a joy because I've never, and I can I say I've seen every single one of his matches? No, but I've seen a lot of them. I don't know that I've ever seen a Shingo match where I felt like that he was unsafe in any part of it. It always looks like he's a complete professional. He's doing his thing. He's so good. Can we all agree on that? Shingo is so good, man. And he and Callum Newman, as I said before, had a banger. Callum's proven himself, kids. He's the man in New Japan right now. I wasn't necessarily on board in the beginning last year when he challenged for the belt, but, buddy, he came a long way in 12 months, didn't he? And he's leading that faction, man. I think it's a pretty cool idea for Ospreay to have those never openweight 6-man belts with Okan and Hanare. I like the idea of it. I don't know how it's going to play out. I don't know how crazy I am about them mentioning an AW angle on their TV in the ring during the press conference after the show. I got mixed feelings on that. I had a conversation about that with Phil Lindsay this past week. Shout out Phil. You know Phil from the 6M podcast. And, of course, also Grapsity. But I had a conversation with Phil about it. And, Phil's a younger man than I am. And there's going to be some things he's going to be very opinionated about. There's things I'm very opinionated about. And can I be honest with you? 90% of the time, we're on the same page with pretty much everything we think. We truly are. The other 10%, I'm going to stick to my guns and he's going to stick to his guns. And that's fine. That's life, man. Not just pro wrestling, but comic book stuff and other things as well. We record together a lot. So, but yeah, it's all good. Much love for Phil. But to me, I don't know how crazy I am having this play out. And plus the fact that they didn't mention that. They barely mentioned it on Dynamite. They did follow up. I will give them credit. Dan Garcia said what he said. They're back there in that, the hallway, and they're doing or sitting on each other and stuff. And, it's kind of weird, but hey, it's what they're doing. I trust Mox. In Mox, we trust, right? We'll see how all that plays out. We talked about that on last episode, so if you want to go check that out, please feel free to do so. I went way more in depth on that episode than I'm going to do today here about it. But that's an ever-developing story, so we'll keep our eyes open and see how it all plays out. Andrade has never looked better. I said that. I've been saying that for months. It's the truth. Andrade El Idolo has found his stride. He's got his second wind. And this is not a matter of it's an aging veteran who's fighting. No, that's not it. He's still in his prime. It's crazy how good he is. Grew up around pro wrestling, been in it for years. This guy is automatic. Much like Shingo, Andrade is automatic, man. He is great. He is freaking wonderful. And now he's your global champion after having beaten Yota Tsuji. Don't anybody cry for Yota Tsuji, man. He's still their top guy. At least, well, if you say, all right, Tommy's not the, all right, fine. Let's say he's their number 2 behind Callum. I firmly believe that. And Yoda deserves all the flowers. In terms of someone that came up through the ranks, the dojo and being a young boy and coming into his own. I mean, Yoda's where it's at, man. I'm a big Yota Tsuji fan. But United Empire, again, kids, as we said before, they're the top faction in New Japan. They are definitely hot, for sure. All right, who's not hot at the moment? How about an entire brand, Ring of Honor? Look, here's what I'm going to say. And I don't say any of this on this part with a smile on my face, because I don't. Because Ring of Honor is a solid pro wrestling environment. I mean, we've been talking about younger this whole episode. You've got younger guys who are getting opportunities to work. That's wonderful. It allows for FaceTime where stars can get reps without AEW Dynamite and Collision having to go 4 hours each, which is also great. But unfortunately, Ring of Honor is an afterthought. There's no crowd in the WJCT studios in Jacksonville, Florida, where it's been taped for a while now. It's tough watch sometimes for that reason. Do we remember back during the studio environment of COVID when there were no fans? Remember when there were 0 fans and they finally started putting the crew in the seats in both companies, and it started feeling like this was actually people again and fans enjoying it? Working in front of no crowd is tough, and there's people in that building, man, but they're quiet as church mice. I mean, they barely pop over anything. Now, some of that is, Tom, maybe they don't have the mic, the crowd mic properly. Fine, I'll give you that. Let's say they don't. It's still tough to watch. I mean, it affects your viewing experience. Didn't we all discover that through COVID? That's what I'm saying. It did for me. I still watch, but it definitely did impact the way I watch the product. You expect fans there to be cheering or booing or both, to be reacting, to be audibly reacting, and all of the above. And when it doesn't happen, it doesn't feel like a pro wrestling show, does it? Let's be honest, it just doesn't. I feel like the brand is hidden on Honor Club. I've had Honor Club for years. I love Honor Club. A lot of great content there. But it just deserves more than that. We talked for a while. I've said it on other podcasts. I've said it on my own shows. What do you do with Ring of Honor? Give it to Bryan Danielson. See what he can do with it. If he wants it. Give him the book, as they say. I'm not kidding. Do something here. You know what I mean? Like, you got Bandito as your Ring of Honor World Champion. We'll get to that here in a second because I got comments on that as well. We'll get to it. But, again, like, a lot of great talent passing through there. And we'll just have to see. But it's, for me, right now in this moment, as much as I do watch it, I enjoy the matches. And, again, younger guys are getting their opportunities to get reps and whatnot. But for me, it's just they need more. It needs more. Put it that way. I think it deserves it as well. Hot. Back to New Japan for the Knockout Brothers. Bro, let me just tell you this. If you don't know the Knockout Brothers, you are missing out. The best tag team in the business today. I'll stick to it. I don't care. All due respect to FTR and the Bucks. Knockout Brothers best tag team in the business right now. Utah Ice and Oscar, IWGP Tag Team Champions. They are a great tag team. And yes, they are the best right now. They have gelled as a unit since they first got together. The New Japan crowd loves them. And best of all, they are different. They look different. They have a great dynamic. There's nothing like a big guy / small guy tag team. They've beaten the best the company has to offer. They're a definite asset to that company. I'm telling you right now, if you don't do anything else today, after you listen to the show, and thank you, by the way, I appreciate you, go look up the Knockout Brothers. You will be glad you did. They are so good. Best tag team in the business, man. Definitely red hot. At some point, they're going to lose those belts. I don't want it to happen anytime soon because they have beaten every top team that's been put in front of them. But I'd like to see them wrestle a couple of AEW tag teams. I think that'd be fun. Them versus the Bucks would be a fun match, I think. But is it going to happen? I don't know. It'd be interesting to watch. But I say keep those belts on these guys for as long as humanly possible. You know what I mean? Much in the same way as singles championships can help define a guy's career, but a guy can help define the belt as well, and it kind of works both ways to a large degree. Those tag belts have always been important in that company, for sure, the way they've been booked, and I always appreciate that. But, let the Knockout Brothers keep them, man. Let them keep them for a good long time, because I'm telling you, they're just adding to it. They're adding to the prestige of the belts, man. It's great to see. Again, if you don't know who they are, you are doing life wrong. You got to go check them out. Last part of the segment, not. We're back to not here, kids. Not hot. Mina Shirakawa and Harley Cameron. Now, no crude comments from the gallery here. I'm not talking about physical appearance, and I'm not trying to make anything weird. They are women, but they are also pro wrestlers, and I respect the fact that they are pro wrestlers and they're getting it done in the ring. So we're not going to go south with this, all right? Everybody be good. Everybody play nice. Everybody be purdy. Play purdy, okay? Through no fault of their own, Mina, and that needs to be said, through no fault of their own, both Mina and Harley are just, it's not working right now. It's clear that the bulk of Mina's booking stemmed from Toni Storm, and now that she's gone, Mina's having to tread water. Same thing with Harley. Her booking was wrapped up in Willow, and now she's kind of just hanging out with Mina. It's like Khan said, well, look, you guys lost your partners. We're just going to put you together. I mean, there was that spot on Dynamite where Mina tore Harley's shirt off and all she had on was a bra, and it was, I'm like, one wrong move and you're going to, this live TV, what are we doing here? It was just weird. The energy doesn't match. And again, I'm not talking about the women themselves. I'm talking about the characters, okay? That's what I'm talking about. And let me state that here for the record, unless anyone's forgotten who's never listened to the show. I don't make anything personal. I don't talk about real lives unless it just comes up in a story or something. Then I try to be as respectful as I can. We're talking about characters. That's who I'm talking about right now. I don't think they fit as a tag team. They're both great. I enjoy watching them. I enjoy watching them together, but it just doesn't feel like it's working. And it's a shame, too, because Harley looked great on Dynamite. She looks so good on Dynamite. Can we all take a moment to appreciate how far Harley Cameron's come? I kind of felt like some fans were saying that stuff a few months ago to sort of humor people. Well, everyone's saying Harley looks good, so I guess I got to say it too. Buddy, no one has to do that now. If you were doing it then, you sure don't have to do it now. She's holding her own, man. Look, I'm hoping all this comes together. Hopefully it will. And maybe it's just that there's something going to play out that I'm not aware of at the moment, and maybe it's on the way. But, you know, when you put Mina in that spot of, you know, she's Tony's girl, and they're a duo. That's great. Dude, they're very entertaining together. I'm not going to take anything away from it. And of course, Toni Storm is a queen. She's fantastic. But when you present her that way, and then Tony's out, again, it becomes, well, what happens to Mina now? I don't think they've answered that question. And again, it kind of feels like, at least to me, something's not clicking here. Something's not what it could be. Let's just put it that way. But again, I hope they right the ship. Last segment of the episode today, kids, and I hope you've enjoyed this show. And again, we've been trying a new format. Can't wait to get your feedback on it. Push, pause, or pivot. I'm not going to explain this one to you. You can probably figure this out. Push. Who needs a push? Eddie Kingston needs a push. We have talked about Eddie till we're blue in the face. On this podcast, on podcasts I've appeared on podcasts I listen to. Eddie Kingston deserves more than what he's getting. As we speak, Eddie's on Ring of Honor. We just talked about that. He's tagging with Ortiz, and there does not appear to be a plan in place. Mance Warner's there now. If you guys don't know Mance Warner, you definitely should go look up Mance Warner. He is so entertaining, dude. He is so freaking entertaining. I enjoyed his work so much in MLW. It's hard for me to watch that company because of, you know, Matt Riddle. I'm not here for that. They tend to platform people I'm not really very cool with, if I'm being honest. No disrespect to anybody, but I'm not a fan. So, you know, but they do have a lot of talented men and women. I'll give you that for sure. But, you know, Eddie's Eddie, man. Eddie was in AEW World Title contention. Now he's not even being used on live TV. When he came back, I knew when he came back. And we all said, it's great that he's back. It's great that he's back. But what's going to happen now? And look what happened. Nothing's happening. He put out one sort of cryptic tweet. There may have been others. I haven't looked. To be fair, I haven't looked. But there was that one cryptic tweet that kind of made it sound like he wasn't very happy. Look, again, he and Ortiz are fun. Man, with the three of them as a trio, shut up. But I love to see the three of them show up on Collision and or Dynamite. Because give Man some mic time, dude. You know what I mean? But look, I'm here for Eddie. I love Eddie. He's great. And I just feel like he deserves more than what's happening right now. And what concerns me is we're all getting older. So's Eddie. Is there going to become a point in time when it's it's too far gone? Not he's too far gone, but the situation's too far gone. You didn't push the button when you should have with him. I mean, I hope not, but buddy, it sure feels like it's coming. I'm going to keep an open mind and keep my hope alive, I guess, for this, because again, I love Eddie and I want to see good things happen for him. And look, for all I know, he's going to help turn that Ring of Honor thing around to where it's going to become like must-see TV. I hope so. It's not that it's not must-see TV now. Let me clarify what I said about Ring of Honor earlier. I enjoy watching the show. Is it tough to watch because of the crowd? Sure. Lack of crowd? Yeah, absolutely. But there's still some really, really good matches happening. Athena's there. I mean, you can't really hate on it. But I think every AEW fan who's ever known anything about Ring of Honor from its past glory days would tell you, this just isn't what we expected. We expected more. I want more for Eddie, if nothing else. Pause. Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland seems to be paused. For reasons that I cannot explain here on this show. Because I cannot explain them. And don't anybody ask me why. Because there's things I will not get into here. Let's put it that way. But Swerve at this moment is doing nothing. The first time we've seen him in a while, in the past couple of weeks, was in Vignettes, and he's coming for Bandito. Bandito. I love Bandito, but stay with me here. Because a promo on this past Wednesday Dynamite they showed about having power. Having power. But yet you're coming after Bandito? Bandito has power? When has Bandito had power? He's got a championship that, in the eyes of the fans, doesn't really mean all that much. They love Bandito. They love the idea of a Ring of Honor World Championship. It sounds good on paper. Belt looks good on TV. There's no power here. The power's with the AEW World Championship. The power's with the Young Bucks. The power's with Kenny Omega. But he's been down that road. And there's a reason why he's not going to go back down that road right now. Again, for reasons I can't explain and go into here today. I love Swerve Strickland. And when I say all these things, it's not about the man. It's about the character. That's all I'm talking about. I have no idea where any of this is going. If you're telling me, Tom, we're going to get a phenomenal feud with Bandito and Swerve, give it to me. I'm here for it. But it is a shock to the system for me to see where Swerve is right now. How are you gunning for a championship that a lot of us believe is barely a world title at this point? And look, I'm not trying to throw shade at anybody. Again, I hope I've made that abundantly clear. I do enjoy Ring of Honor. And I love Bandito. I'm just talking about the way things are booked over there. What are we talking about, man? Again, no idea where any of this is going. Swerve seems like and feels like he is miles away from the AEW World Championship. Because guess why? He is. He absolutely is miles away from the AEW World Championship. We'll see how it goes. See how it plays out, as the kids say. I'm trying to, I'm going to keep an open mind, so I have no reason to. Yeah, we'll see how it all goes. I'm interested to see. But again, at least for me, it sure feels like things are paused for him at the moment. Pivot. Jericho versus The Demand. They're going to have Stadium Stampede. It's going to be fun. I'm sure it'll be highly entertaining. After that, let's move on. I like Ricochet quite a bit, unlike other people who criticize him every chance they get. They're doing the best work of his career. He's never looked better. He's never done better character work. As goofball as it is, the whole ball thing, it's working. It's over. Him being cornball and making that sound, dude, it's working. You cannot argue with results. Bishop Con and Toliona, who have busted their humps to get where they are. They've earned their spot next to him. I love that they're on national TV every week. These guys are such a great team, dude. I hope we get back to the point of them becoming a great team, or, reminding people what a great team they, because they truly are a great team. But yeah, at some point we're going to have to pivot from Jericho versus the Demand. They're going to have the Stadium Stampede thing first. Again, as I said, it's going to be fun. It's going to be the Demand and two other partners versus Jericho, Hurt Syndicate and two other partners. This whole thing, though, to me has felt weird from the jump. And again, hope that once this is over, it's time for everyone involved to move on. Here's the bit about Kofi that I wanted to mention, and Xavier. Jericho and Hurt Syndicate need two other partners. Now, it's funny they've not introduced those partners. By the time you listen to this, maybe they already have, and maybe I'll be dead wrong. But I think there is a possibility it will be Woods and Kingston. I don't know that it is. I have no intel for you. But, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I think that'd be fun. Stadium Stampede match with those two guys in the mix? Are you kidding me? Yeah, for sure. For sure. We'll see how it goes. I feel like from the beginning, and maybe I'm wrong, but as we know, Jericho's return was met with crickets, and they were in Canada. By the way, our friends in Canada, what happened? What happened? In pro wrestling, it's that old line about, how can I miss you if you never go away, right? A guy disappears for a few months, fresh coat of paint. You get a chance to miss him. He comes back. He's learned a new move, as they say, right? I mean, Jericho's back, and, no one can argue with what he's accomplished in the business. He still looks great on TV. He still has a tremendous amount of star power. Does the guy need the business as much as they need him? I don't know. I would argue at one point he needed the business more than the business needed him. But then as time went on, it became sort of equal, in my opinion. Does he need the business now? I don't know that he does, but he loves wrestling. And again, there's no arguing what the guy brings to the table. A lot of us didn't love a lot of that stuff he was doing before Learning Tree. I think, in my opinion, it's the weakest thing he's ever done. But it's times have changed. We've moved on. That's in the past now. But when I think we all realize, hey, he's not getting the pop like we thought he would, and maybe this isn't working. They have Ricochet come out, run him down. They have Ricochet say things like, "No one wants you here. No one wants you on TV. You're old," or whatever. And I'm like, man, this sure feels pretty heavy-handed, doesn't it? You know what I mean? This sure feels like this is the company's way and Jericho's way of saying, no one appreciates me. Maybe that's not what it was. Maybe it was planned that way to begin with for the entire time. Possibly. But, they beat him down constantly, and he can never see the light of day. And, I feel pretty safe to say that his team's going to win the Stadium Stampede match. By the way, kids, it's one of those things from AEW that one of their signature matches that I'm here for. I am absolutely here for Stadium Stampede. I cannot wait to see what happens here, man. Yeah. So, but again, as I said, after this is over, it's time to pivot. And I don't know what you're going to do with Jericho next. I don't know what the plan is. What's going to happen moving forward with him? Are you going to put him back in title contention to some degree? You're going to put him with the younger guy, someone like Rick or someone else possibly. And, are you going to go back to the time-old tradition in AEW of putting a faction around him, and he's the corrupt leader who just uses that faction to protect him and protect whatever belt he's holding at the time? It's possible. But what's funny is that it's worked. It worked before. Why would it not work now? Is it a lazy formula? I'll let you guys decide that. As I've said through the course of this episode, I'm trying to keep an open mind about a lot of this. In case you guys don't know who I am, that's a lot of who I am, is that I try to be even keel. I try to call this thing down the middle, as they said in the business for years. I don't hate on people. I don't rage cast. I don't do any of that crap, man. It's not who I am. I don't think to me, there's no future in that. And I don't want to put that out in the world. I want to put positivity out there. So anyway, we're wrapping up the format of the show here, kids. Hope you enjoyed that. I'm testing it out here on the audio version of the show. As I said at the intro, we're still not back to video yet. Video's coming. I'm anxious to get back to video, but we're not quite there yet, tech-wise, to be able to put it out there. I don't ever want to crap on any of my colleagues in the podcast world, but I've seen people who throw things on Facebook and it's done on the iPhone, or it's being held and the lighting's bad and it's shaky and it's you can see they're not looking the part, and the graphics aren't good and the presentation's weak, and that's just not who I am, man. It's not what I want to put out there. And like, if it works for other people and they're happy to do it, and the people watching the shows are cool with it, that's great. But it's just not. I feel like the audience, at least the folks that watch and listen to my stuff, I don't believe that they're here for that. And that's not what I want to give them. If I can't do it the right way, I don't want to do it at all. But here we are back to the audio version of the main event because I've missed doing the show. I made that pretty clear in episode 415. I've truly missed doing this show, man. So, this show started out as an audio podcast. It's back to being an audio podcast, at least for right now. But I appreciate everybody's patience. So I said we were going to say our hellos. We're like 40 some minutes in at this point. Look how long it took. How's everybody doing out there? Thanks so much for listening to the show, man. I appreciate you very much. Thank you. So if you made it this far, good on you. But yeah, dude, I appreciate it very much, man. And hope your week went well. Mine went okay. One of the things I said when I posted episode 415 was that I've been focusing on my health for the past couple months, and I still am. There's things that I don't, that I'll keep to myself. But let's just say I'm in a pretty good spot right now. I couldn't say that in February. If I'm being straight, I couldn't say that. It was tough. And, any given moment, it can be tough. But I'm much better than I was. And there's only a couple people that know what I'm talking about. But, I appreciate I had some well-wishers wishing me well when I put that post out. So I appreciate you guys very much, and gals. And again, it's this is just a labor of love for me, man. Like the main event, I started in 2014, and here we are 12 years later, over at 400 episodes, which sounds great in the grand scheme of things. 400 episodes in 12 years is not that many episodes. It's really not, man. I mean, there's not, dude, it's not as impressive as it sounds, perhaps. I mean, I take it and run with it, right? But compared to the output of other people, it's not all that much. We're getting close to 300 on Tom Clark's Six and podcast. So we're going to hit 300 in about 20 weeks or so, 20 plus weeks or so. We'll hit 306 and podcast. That's insane too. I mean, it's insane how long that show has been going since 2020 when I started that show. So yeah, these are my two favorite podcasts to do. And I love to do the Bear podcast. I love recording with other people. And we just wrapped up season 2 of Bear Mode, a podcast review of the Bear, with the season 2 rundown. It's myself, Big Tasty, Joe Higgins, and Jay Luft. We had a blast doing that show. We're not done. We're going to come back and do season 3 and then season 4. And then we're going to wait and see how season 5 goes. We're obviously going to do season 5 as well. And if you've been watching that, first off, thank you. But second, we hope you've enjoyed it. As I said before, if I can't do it right, I don't want to do it at all, right? So I feel like we've done that one right. We've all done our homework. We go into it with a lot of notes. We go into it, prepared to talk. It's not one of those where you show them, go, "What'd you think? Oh, it's pretty good. What'd you think? Okay, the end." It's not how I do my thing. And again, if it works for other people, and it does, and kudos to them. But it's just not what I want to do. I don't want to put that out. I don't want to waste your time. You know what I mean? I don't want to make this about, this is all mental masturbation, as they say. That's not what I want here. I want this to be, I'm putting out something that's entertaining, that you can get into, that you enjoy listening to, that you enjoy talking about with your friends. You know what I mean? That's what I want to listen to. It's what I want to watch. So that's the content I try to create here. I'm very much in the Kevin Smith School of Podcasting. I've made that pretty clear before. Also, if you like Ted Lasso, we've covered all 3 seasons of Ted Lasso. We know season 4 is coming, and once it comes, we'll be making some decisions about how to cover it, when to start the show back up. And of course, that show is myself, Joe, and Jay. Tasty may join in for that one. We'll see how it goes. He may get the entire Bear Mode crew on the new Two Nations show as we come back. Lots of good stuff happening on Boing Studios, man. It's if you follow us on YouTube, first of all, thank you. If you don't, please check us out. None of the videos on YouTube, you need to be a member and pay a monthly fee. Nothing's behind a paywall. And maybe one day it will be, but right now, it says 2014, everything's free of charge. I like to keep it that way. Okay. So I hope you go check us out because, again, I feel like we do it right. Are we right about everything we say? Well, that's subjective because we cover a lot of entertainment. And this idea that you're right or wrong about entertainment is weird. Now, do I believe they're bad takes? Buddy, you better know I do. I've always believed there are bad takes. Have we had some bad takes? I'd love to know what you think. I'd love to get your feedback. I can tell you what I think, but it doesn't matter what I think, does it? I'd love to know what you think. But yeah, the Boy Studio is right there on YouTube, man. Not only do you get the main event, you get 6M Podcast, you get Bear Mode, you get Two Nations, but you also get Ray's Sports and Slams, hosted by my friend Ray Dean. Ray and the guys, Walt and Mac, go live every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's all sports, baby. Sports/pro wrestling. Hence the name, Sports and Slams. So give us a follow. Give them a follow on social media as well. And you just look for Boink Studios, of course, Ray Sports and Slams. You can find them. And again, follow the show there on YouTube. Ray Sports and Slams, like the main event, 6M Podcast, Bear Mode, and Two Nations, all exist in video and audio form as well. So we hope that you are subscribing on the audio platforms. That way you're in the gym working out. I listen to podcasts a lot during my walk. So I go to the gym. I try to go at least 3 times a week. And I'll listen to I'll just blast some music in my ears during the actual workout. I was listening to baby metal yesterday. I haven't listened to those girls in a while. And I had it cranked up when I was hitting the weights and then hitting the bike. But when I did my walkout back, I sort of change it up sometimes and listen to a podcast. So, yeah, you can listen to any of the audio podcasts we have here on Boink Studios. I do not want to forget to mention Bachman's Basement. Another good friend of mine, Chris Patton. He's an ace, all right? He's a really great dude. He and Chris Clausen are tearing it up on Bachman's Basement, man. It's a really good listen. If you like Stephen King books, short stories, movies, buddy, I got the show for you. Bachman's Basement is a gem. It's extremely fun to listen to. The guys break it down. They give you like real world perspective. It's an honest perspective, honest takes. We've got that show labeled explicit, mostly because of the themes that they're covering from King's books. They're not really there to destroy you with cursing and weird stuff. That's not. None of us do anything like that on Point Studios, man. We're just there to have fun and enjoy the content, review the content, try to give the best podcast episodes we possibly can. We've got other new shows coming down the pike, kids. There are 2 more new shows coming. One for sure. One we're still talking about. We're in the early stages of it. So I'm pretty excited about that one. I'm excited about both of them, but I'm excited about the second one for sure. But again, we're just trying to build something here, and we hope you've come along for the ride. So I believe that's going to do it for me this week, kids. I'm going to take it home, as they say. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me. And I hope you've got something out of this. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I'd love to know what you think. Drop it in the comments wherever you're listening to this. And again, I appreciate you. I ask that you please give us a follow. Check out boinkstudios.com. If you don't want to go looking for links to socials and all that stuff, everything you need is on boinkstudios.com, man. It's all right there. So please go check it out. And I would appreciate that very much. The video portion of this show will return, okay? I'm not sure when, and the time slot may change as well. It may be tweaked. When I've made decisions, I will let everyone know, okay? So I appreciate you again being patient with me. And I always appreciate everyone giving us their time and attention, man. It means a lot to me. If there's anything we haven't talked about on the podcast you'd like us to cover, please let me know. We're always open to suggestions, especially with the 6M podcast, man. We cover all kinds of stuff on that show, man. All corners of pop culture we cover on the 6M podcast. But on the main event as well, if there's anything I'm missing or anything you'd like me to talk about, or if you got a question about what my opinions or why I choose to talk about who I choose to talk about, let me know. I want this to be a conversation, man. I don't want it to be me dictating to you what everything's going to be. I'd love to hear your feedback. That's all I got for you, kids. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your weekend, period. Enjoy your week. depending on when you listen to this. I hope everything's going well for you. And go watch yourself some pro wrestling. Go to a live show in your area if you can. And I know it's hard to go to see the big boys right now because both companies are insanely expensive. But if you can go see a local pro wrestling show and they're doing it right, go give them your $20, $15, whatever the price is, and support local pro wrestling. I'm always an advocate of that, so go do that. Catch up on New Japan if you haven't. I'm finally caught up on everything possible. I even watched the MLP show that's on Honor Club. It's a pretty good show, man. Pretty good show. So all the best to Scott D'Amore and those guys. Again, I'm a fan of pro wrestling. I want this stuff to continue long past me. Right? I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. But I'm a fan. That's why I enjoy talking about it so much, why I enjoy watching it, man. But that's what I got for you, kids. Be sure to share the show. Thanks as always. And we'll see you next time, kids.
Tom Clark's main event. Tom Clark's main event. Tom Clark's main event.